Guys, we went to the beach today and it was like 69 degrees. It was terrible. So now I'm freezing.
Now she's sitting under a blanket with her huggle in her comfy chair with her pillow. And I'm sitting in this uncomfortable wood chair.
No, she's sitting in the fancy director chair and I look comfortable, but I'm really not, because what happened was we used to record in my room and I had a desk because I had a loft bed, but I got rid of my loft bed and I don't sleep very well, so I thought that I would sleep better in a recliner chair than in a bed, so we just got me a recliner chair. So now I don't have a desk or anything to put the computer on for when we record. And we're moving out tomorrow, so I didn't want to bring the table up that we usually use to my room. I have a little lap desk, so I set that up on like the leg of my recliner chair, so I'm currently smushed to the side because there's nowhere for my legs because there's a desk right where my legs should be. I'm not as comfortable as I look. I gave Ashley the nice director's chair and me the dangerous recliner chair because 2 nights ago, I got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and as soon as I stood up, the back of my chair completely fell off. Like, it came apart, and my parents had to put it together so that it would, like, fit through the door of my room, but the back is supposed to stay on once you put it on, but it just fell completely off, so we were like, thank goodness it didn't fall off while I was sleeping, because I would have died.
Yeah, the whole 2 feet that you would have fallen backwards.
Because I would have hit my head on the wall.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wasn't anywhere close to the wall.
Well, I wasn't sitting like this. I was sleeping like this.
I know, but even if the chair went all the way back, you still wouldn't hit your head on the wall. Okay, well, speaking of Aspen being dumb,
I didn't do anything. It was my chair.
Because you don't understand that you won't hit the wall. Guys, I'm really excited for this episode because we have done so many episodes about embarrassing things that I've done and stupid things I've done and bad things I've done. And Aspen just always comes off looking like the perfect little princess, but we are about to debunk that myth.
That's not true. I would just like to say that after our last episode, my mom and I were talking and she was laughing about how you said that you've never had any baking fails besides your s'mores cupcakes, and it was all about my baking fails, because she did not think that was true. So last episode was also just making fun of me.
Not mostly. Most of it was just about baking in general. We just talked about some of your baking fails. But I've had other baking fails. That was just the only one I could remember in the moment. You put me on the spot.
A lot of my things that we're going to talk about today had to do with also cooking/baking, but not in the sense of food fails, just like kitchen mishaps where people almost died or burned or, you know.
Whoa.
Not really. Today we are talking about all of the not so smart things that Aspen has done. I come from a long line of people called the Welkers who just have moments sometimes. Apparently my great-grandma had moments and my grandma had moments and my mom has these moments a lot that we call Michelle moments, because that's her name, Michelle, where she just like things happen to her. She just does things that are kind of silly.
Like on Christmas, sometimes she'll wrap up a bunch of presents and then forget what's in each package, so she'll put the wrong person's name on something and then give me something and be like, oh, shoot, that was for Aspen.
Yeah. I mean, this was on purpose, but like my grandma would take them to go shopping or something and she would say, try this on for your sister, but then that would actually be the present that she would get for them. And it's just like silly things that my ancestors did that I also do. But I just have to preface this episode with that. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm pretty smart in terms of book smart. Like, I was valedictorian of my high school, and
I was too.
Okay, but then we're talking about me right now.
I know, but I don't want people to think that I'm an idiot.
Yeah, because anyone who's not valedictorian is an idiot.
No, but I don't want people to think you're smarter than me, because this episode is about you being not smart, not me being not smart.
See how she has to make everything a competition?
You're being so mean to me.
You say that every episode.
Well, stop being mean to me. I won't have to say it.
Okay, that's going to be our poll, is if I'm mean or if you're mean, because you make me feel bad for every time I say anything to you, you call me mean.
That was mean?
Shut up!
Picking on me.
You're picking on me!
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
The point of this episode is to pick on you.
But I'm prefacing right now. We haven't started the picking on me yet.
This has been like a 7-minute preface.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Just forget my preface. I was going to follow that up with that I am not very street smart, so before you get your panties in a wad, I was going to admit that I am not smart in the street senses. But I also don't want to do this episode because all I do is talk in all of the episodes, and I'm tired of listening to my voice.
Okay, I'll tell people the stories about your things.
Okay, what story do you want to tell?
Okay, I'm going to start with this one because I think this is hilarious, but also was kind of problematic for me. Last year, I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks while we were at school, and because I was an RA and I had a single room, like I had other people living in my apartment, but I had my own bedroom, Aspen decided to go stay in my apartment while I was gone.
Hold on. She told me that I could stay in her apartment because I couldn't sleep in my apartment because I was just having some, like, roommate issues, and she wasn't going to be there, and she was like, you can stay in my apartment, and she gave me her key, so it felt like an open invitation, so she acts like, no, you just decided to stay there, but it was really, she told me I could.
Apparently. In my memory, I gave her my key in case I needed her to bring me clothes or anything from my apartment, and I said that she could go in there if she needed anything, not that she could move in.
But you knew I was there, so even if you didn't say that, which you did, you could have told me to not live there.
No, it was fine, but it's
okay, then stop acting like I was doing something wrong.
Let me tell the story. Okay. You're not supposed to be talking.
Okay, sorry. I'm zipping my lips and throwing away the key.
No, I just lost my place.
That was sorry, by the way.
Anyway, so she was staying in my apartment while I was in the hospital, and there was this whole thing in the housing at our school that you weren't supposed to lock yourselves out. And so if you forgot your key, you would have to call the RA on call to come let you in, and you would get fined. But I didn't because I was an RA, so I could get the master key. But the doors to everyone's bedrooms locked, so it wasn't just that you had to have your key to get into the apartment, then you had to have your key to get into your bedroom. So if you went to the bathroom or something, you would have to bring your key with you so you could get back into your room. So one night while she was staying there, she woke up in the middle of the night and went to the bathroom, but she brought her key instead of my key because she had her apartment key with her too, and then she locked herself out of my apartment. So then she had to go down to the lobby and ask the security guard to call the RA on call because she didn't have her phone with her. But the RA knew me because we were RAs in the same building.
But I had to say that I was her because I was in her apartment. So when they look you up, I had to say my name was Ashley so they would let me back into the right room.
Yeah, but then when the RA came, then she had to tell them that she wasn't me because I would have been able to get myself back in. I wouldn't have been locked out because I could get into the lockbox to get the master key. So then she had to tell them that she was staying in my apartment and locked herself out of my apartment.
Yeah, it was really embarrassing and a little problematic.
I was a little embarrassed too.
But he was really nice and he didn't find me. I don't know if you knew this part, but I was just walking to the bathroom, so I just had my socks. So I had to go all the way down to the security desk with no shoes.
Well, my very first night on campus when we were sophomores, because our freshman year was online, so it was my very first night. I had just moved in. My parents left me there, and my roommate hadn't moved in yet, so she couldn't let me back into my room, and I didn't realize I had to bring my key to the bathroom, so I went and took a shower, and then I came out of the shower and realized I couldn't get back in my room, so I had no shoes or socks on. I had clothes, but I had to go down to the security desk with like wet hair and no socks and ask them to get the RA. But then the security guard was super nice and she was like, don't worry about it. I have people do that all the time and they come down here in a towel.
Well, I was gonna say, can you tell that story again? But this time you don't have clothes because that would have been a lot funnier.
Want me to?
No.
That would be funnier.
Then that would have been stupider than the thing that I did and that would juxtapose the whole idea of this.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it wasn't really stupid because I had just moved in, so I didn't know that I couldn't get back in. Whereas you did know, and you brought the wrong key.
Yeah, but at least I had a key. I thought it was the right key.
I think that's stupider. I mean, like, it was more embarrassing because you were not in your room.
Yeah. People get locked out all the time. So if I would have just gone locked out of my apartment, like, it would have been dumb, but it would have been fine. It just made the problem exponentially funnier and worse that I was
That
in
you locked
your
yourself
apartment.
out of my apartment.
And that you were an RA, so
Yeah.
if I was you, I would have been able to let myself back in.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have other ones of mine that you want to tell, or do you want me to tell some?
You can tell one. I'll think of
Okay.
some more for you.
I can for sure tell this one because you weren't there. I mean, I probably told you about it, but it would just be funnier if I tell it. So,
Ooh, it would be so fun if there was one I hadn't heard
I know.
before.
I'll see if I can think of one. First, I have a question for you guys. Don't you think that 9 times out of 10, women's bathrooms are on the left and men's bathrooms are on the right? So, a few months ago, I was in Portland for an event with my mom, and we were at the airport, and I had to go to the bathroom, and so I was walking to the bathroom, and I saw the sign for the restroom, and then there were a bunch of doors, so I wasn't really paying attention because I was, like, looking around the airport and whatever. And so I started walking to the doors and almost pushed them open that were under the restroom sign. But then I realized that they were the emergency exit doors. So I almost opened the emergency exit and I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been so embarrassing. Good thing I didn't do that. So then I was like, that's dumb that the bathrooms are farther than the sign that says restrooms. Because it wasn't like restrooms with an arrow. It was literally just the restroom sign. Then I kept walking and I was just walking there thinking, thank goodness I didn't open the emergency exit. And then I walked into the bathroom and it split off men's and women's. And so I walked towards the left where I thought the women's bathrooms were and walked right into the men's bathroom. And there was no one in there, but I just saw all the urinals and I was like, oh no! So then I walked down and went the other way. And so no one saw me, so I guess it would have been a lot more embarrassing if they did see me, but it was just a really stupid thing to do because I almost went to the wrong place twice just going to the bathroom. And that was probably the 3rd or 4th time I went into the men's bathroom in like that vicinity of 3 months. So it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay, I thought of another good one.
Okay.
This one happened when we were little, so it's not as embarrassing, but it's really funny.
Uh-oh.
So when we were 5, we were on a t-ball team, which if you don't know what t-ball is,
It was really stupid.
T-ball is like baseball except for little kids, so you hit the ball off a tee instead of them throwing the ball at you and you hit it with the bat. So we were going to one of our t-ball games. It must have been the first game, and we had t-shirts that we would wear to our games, and the t-shirts were pretty long. I don't know if they went down to our knees. I think they weren't that long, but they went past where your shorts might go if you were wearing shorts. So Aspen put on her shirt. I was wearing my shirt. It probably covered my shorts. So we got in the car. We were driving to the game, which was probably like 30 minutes away from our house. It was not close by. And then Aspen shared with everybody that she was not wearing shorts because her shirt was long, so she figured it was like a dress and she didn't need to wear shorts.
I don't think it was an announcement. I think I was probably sitting on Ladylike or something, and someone was like, are you wearing shorts?
Yeah, well, whatever. Somehow it was discovered that she was not wearing shorts, and she did not understand why people were upset with her for not wearing shorts because her shirt was long. So then,
because you wouldn't wear shorts under a dress. It would be the same length.
Yeah, but you also wouldn't wear a dress to a t-ball game.
Well, I might have.
That's true.
If I would have been allowed to.
But it was a t-shirt, not a dress. So then we had to make a really quick stop at, what was it, like a Target?
I don't remember.
Probably Target, to buy her some shorts so that she could go to the game.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
okay, I'll tell this one because it'll make you feel bad for little Aspen. When I was 4, for some reason, Ashley and I were obsessed with red bell peppers when we were little. Like, we would just we would sit in the kitchen and eat bags of them.
They were cut up.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't just, like, bite them like apples.
I was just clarifying.
Thank you. But we were at my aunt and uncle's house one time, and they had a bag full of mini peppers. And I was like, ooh, peppers. I love peppers. So I picked one up and took a big old bite of it. But it was not a bell pepper. It was I don't know if it was a jalapeno or just a spicy pepper. I don't know what those are called.
It was some sort of spicy
But it was
pepper.
some sort of really spicy pepper. And so I burned my mouth because I just took a giant bite of it. And then I was crying and I kept saying I wanted chapstick because my lips were burning, but
Aww.
it wasn't doing anything because it was minty chapstick, so it just made it worse. It was kind of dumb. I mean, little kids, they just think they know what things are and they just put whatever they want in their mouths.
I mean, that wasn't really stupid. You were just a little kid.
Yeah. Another stupid thing that I've done a lot lately, this isn't really a story, it's just something that I keep doing, is, the whole bag thing that you have to bring bags to the store.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't about that. I was going to say, I understand for getting bags because especially in Colorado, it's a new thing, which it's funny because in LA it's not, so we're used to doing it in LA, but in Colorado we've had a really hard time remembering. But that's understandable if you can't remember to bring a bag because it's new and you would just not always think of that you need bags when you go to the store. What you do always need when you go to the store is something to pay with.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's probably happened to people before. I know it's happened to my mom, and it even happened to Ashley one time.
To me once.
Where they've forgotten a credit card or forgotten money at the store.
But mine, there's a good reason that I forgot.
What was it?
Well, because it was a last minute thing. It was on our mom's birthday, and we needed something for dinner, and so I was running out really quick, and it was 2 days after I had gotten a new phone, and I didn't have a case yet, and I always keep my credit cards in the wallet on my phone case, and since I didn't have one, I didn't have it with me. So.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll make a stop impromptuly, but since I came home
impromptuly?
Yeah. Since I came home for winter break, usually if I would go to the store, it was okay, I'm taking a list and I'm going grocery shopping. So probably in January, I went to the store. I knew I was going out shopping. I had all the stuff in my cart. I went to check out and I looked for my lanyard that has my credit card in it. And I was like, I don't have any money. So I had to call my mom to come bring money so that I could pay. So I was really embarrassed and I was like, I'm so sorry because I knew she didn't really have time for that. I was like, I don't know how I did that. That'll never happen again. And then a month later, I went grocery shopping, got all my stuff in my cart, and I was like, I don't have money. And then I had to drive home to get a credit card, so I stored my cart, hid it so that people wouldn't take stuff out of it. And then how many more times has that happened in the last 6 months? Probably 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's happened a lot.
Yeah. So you would think I would have learned my lesson, but it just keeps happening.
But now you have a wallet in your phone case, so it won't happen.
Yes, now I do have a wallet in my phone case, so that will hopefully not happen, except
you never bring your phone anywhere?
I mean, it's kind of a good thing because you know how some people are just obsessed with their phones and they can't ever not be on their phones. So, on the one hand, it's good that I don't bring my phone places when we're just going to hang out with friends or going to see family or something. But on the other hand, it's really obnoxious because people are always like, well, can't you map where we're going? Don't you have your credit card? Can't you look this up? And I'm like, well, I don't have my phone. Well, I don't have my phone. Well, I don't have my phone. Or yesterday we were at the store and it was those digital coupon things and Ashley's phone wasn't working. And she was like, you need to do it on your phone. And I was like, I don't have my phone. And she was like, go to the car and get it. I left my phone at home, silly. So, yeah.
Well, also, what was I going to say? Oh my gosh, what was I going to say about you not having your phone? Oh, it also always conveniently works out that she doesn't have her phone, so then I pay for everything.
No, that's not true.
I'm just kidding.
And I keep trying to Venmo her for stuff, and then she doesn't tell me how much it was because she doesn't want me to pay for it because she has a lot more money than me.
I like to buy things for you.
We don't need to talk about it right now, but I'm really stressed out about being a money leech off of you.
I just thought of a good story for you, and now I don't remember it.
Okay, I'll tell another one, but you have to remember it.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Okay, this is one that I'm not sure if you'll feel bad for me or you'll think it's really stupid. So, when I was a sophomore in college, like Ashley said, our freshman year was online, so sophomore year was our first year on campus. And I moved into an apartment, and then a few months in the semester, my roommate had to have surgery, so we moved to a new apartment so that she could live in an ADA accessible room. And so the first night that we moved in, this new apartment was a lot nicer than the old one. So I was happy with it, and I was really happy to keep living with her because we didn't think that they were going to let me move with her. So I thought I was going to have to get a new roommate, and I really liked my roommate. That was all fine and good, and I liked the new apartment, but I was just really stressed out about moving everything on my own, and it was very sudden. We found out on Friday night, I think, that we were moving, and we had to be moved out within 24 hours. So it was just a really stressful day. I was about to go to bed, and the battery on the smoke alarm started going off because the battery was running out. And I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And I was like, well, it's fine. I'll just leave it and fix it in the morning, because it was probably 11 or 12 at night. So it was too late to call someone to fix it. But then it was just would not stop going off, and I couldn't sleep. And so I called my dad, and I was like, I really don't know what to do with the smoke alarm. Like, it won't stop going off. And so then he was trying to tell me there was like a button that I could just turn the beeper off. And so I climbed up onto my desk to reach the smoke alarm, and I was half listening to him and half just trying to figure out how to turn it off. So I just pressed a button, and it set off the fire alarm in the entire building. So
I also feel like they shouldn't give you the power to do that.
I know, but my first night there, I set off the fire alarm for the whole building, and I didn't really know what happened at first. So I opened the door to like tell the security guard that I thought I set the fire alarm off, because we lived on the first floor since it was ADA accessible, so we were right next to the security desk. And the security guard got so mad at me and was like yelling at me that everyone had to evacuate and I needed to come out of my room. But I was like, I just want someone to turn off the smoke alarm, and like, I don't know what's going on. And so then I had to leave the building, and obviously everybody else didn't evacuate because there was probably only 20 people who walked out of the building, but some people came running down the stairs like, oh my gosh, the fire alarm is going off. And then people were like so angry that it was a false alarm, and the firefighters had to come and turn the thing off, and they were like, what happened? Security guard, some girl set the fire alarm off, and I'm like cowering in the corner and didn't want anyone to know that it was me. And my roommate wasn't there. I can't remember why she wasn't there that night. I kind of think her brother was visiting to help her move or something, so she was staying with him. So I was alone in the apartment. It was just me to live with my sorrows of setting off the fire alarm in the entire building. So it was a very unsuccessful first night.
Poor Aspen.
Yeah, I know.
That is really funny, but also kind of sad. Like, I do feel bad for you, but it's really funny now.
But I've had some fire issues at my various apartments, because then the next apartment I moved in my junior year had a gas stove, and I'd never had a gas stove before. One time I was boiling something, and my pan is all metal. It doesn't have a rubber thing on the handle, so you have to use a hot pad or something to grab the metal, otherwise it'll burn your hand, which I learned the hard way the first time I used that pan. So I one time grabbed a towel to drain the pasta or whatever I was making to grab the pot, but it was a dish towel, so it was longer than just a pot holder. And so part of it went down into the oven, into the gas stove, and I picked up the pot, and the other side of the towel was on fire. And I don't
think I've ever heard this story.
You haven't?
I don't think so.
That's why that one, we have it in the basement. That's why that one towel has a big burn hole in it. I almost hacked that towel, and then I was like, oh, I don't want this.
And then I was like, what happened to this?
Yeah, I burnt it. So I put the fire out. It didn't catch anything else on fire. I didn't burn myself.
Didn't set the fire alarm off.
It did not set the fire alarm off that time. But that was quite the smart thing to do. A few days ago, I was making a prop for one of our shows for Stage Bugs, and I wanted it to look like an old-fashioned letter, so I was like, oh, I'll just torch the edges of the paper. That wasn't the smartest idea, because the paper really caught on fire, and it made ash fall all over the floor in our house. It, again, didn't set anything on fire, because I blew it out before it got that bad, but I just need to not be trusted around fire, I think.
Yeah. You have some troubles with fire.
Yeah, I really do. But the other day, my mom set chips on fire in the oven, so I'm not alone. I told you, it's genetic.
Yeah.
But
I've never set anything on fire, and I have the same genetics as you do.
No, you come from our dad's side. I come from our mom's side.
I set my skin on fire a lot.
Well, one time Ashley used a hairdryer she got her sleeve wet. And, Ashley has some good, stupid stories. She was using a hairdryer to dry her pajama sleeve because it got wet and she burnt holes in it. And then I think the same year, we had a babysitter over and she put nail polish on her lips because she, quote-unquote, thought it was lipstick.
I think I did think it was lipstick, or I just thought it would look pretty on my lips, and then the babysitter had to call poison control, but it was not that much nail polish, and it was kids' nail polish, so I can't imagine it was that poisonous.
Yeah.
And poison control just said to rinse it off, and that I would live, and I did.
I also, one time, the same month probably that I set my towel on fire, I had this really lovely casserole dish that had a plastic lid, but the casserole dish said oven safe, and whatever I was making it in it, you were supposed to have a lid on it, so I put the whole thing in the oven, and then the lid melted.
There's a slight chance that I put an aluminum KitchenAid bowl in the microwave.
Not very long ago.
Within the past few months.
She blames me for this, but when we were 9 or 10, she was making that easy mac and cheese that you put in the microwave, and she didn't put water in it, and it melted all over the microwave. But she says it's because she asked me what to do, and I said, you just put it in the microwave, and I didn't tell her to put in water. But I guess I assumed that she could read the instructions and that it was obvious that you had to put water in the mac and cheese.
Well, I had never made that easy mac before. I only ever made regular mac and cheese, and that was before. I think a lot of people have done that, because now on the top of the lid it says put in water, must use water or something.
I'm pretty sure it had said that.
No,
before.
It definitely didn't, because I would have noticed that. But you just said take the lid out, take the cheese packet out. That's why I didn't put water in, because you were giving me very detailed instructions to take off the lid and then take the packet of cheese out and then put it in the microwave. So that's what I did.
I'm sure they were very detailed. Okay, do you want to know the most recent stupid thing that I did?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
So on Friday, we were teaching a class for our theater company, and we were using this church that we rented, and the doors didn't stay unlocked, so we had to have someone at the door to let the kids in and out. And I was so stressed out because the kids were really amazing and adorable, but they were going crazy the last hour of class. And so I was really stressed out about them being outside for their parents to pick them up, because I didn't want them running into the parking lot. And so I was giving them a whole speech about staying with me until their parent was physically there to pick them up, and none of them were listening to me. So I was just really stressed out about them all running out as soon as I opened the doors. So I was so focused on keeping them all with me that I just opened the doors and walked out, and then let them all go with their parents. And once all the parents had picked them up, I turned around and I thought, the doors don't stay unlocked. And I didn't have a key or my phone, because again, I never have my phone with me. So then I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do, because I could just stand there and wait for Ashley to realize that I wasn't coming back. But a lot of times we have kids' parents who are really, really late to pick them up, so it wouldn't have been unreasonable for me to still be out there 10 or 15 minutes later. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, well, I'll just walk around and see if I can find anything, anywhere that I can knock or something, because it was this giant church. We were in the basement, and I was obviously at the top floor to let them in, but you could get to the basement if you went around the back and they had a little path down to the basement.
From the outside.
Yeah, from the outside. So I just walked down there, and Ashley happened to be in one of the rooms looking for a vacuum, because the room that we were in didn't have any windows that didn't have shades over them. If I would have knocked, she probably wouldn't have known that it was me and freaked out. But I saw her through the window, so I waved at her and she let me in. But it was pretty dumb, because how many times did the lady that we were renting from tell us that we needed to have somebody holding the door so that we didn't lock anyone in or out? At least we weren't both outside, and then the keys were in.
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
Oh, I almost did something so stupid the other day. For our crime drama, we were at a library, and we were filming outside, and we were filming this scene where our dad was, not our real dad, our actor dad was supposed to be picking us up, and we had suitcases with us, but we were using our car, so I pulled our car up to where we were filming, and then I had just thrown my keys into the bag that I was using as my suitcase, because I wasn't supposed to have the keys in the scene. And then we went through the whole scene, including him putting our luggage in the trunk,
and then closing the
trunk, and our trunk doesn't have a button, you have to open it using the keys. And then we got in the car to finish the scene. We got out of the car, and then the actor held out his hand for the keys so that he could get the bags out of the trunk. And I was like, the keys are in my bag. And then I was like, the keys are in my bag in the trunk. So that was a bit of a problem. But luckily there's a pedal in the front of the car that you can push to open the trunk so we could get our bags, because otherwise that would have been a big problem.
Yeah. You and locks and fire, you really have a problem with all of those things.
When I was making my list of stupid things, I was like, these are all the same things. It's either fire or getting locked out of things.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been locked in somewhere and, like, couldn't get out? Because that's one of my biggest irrational fears.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you would really count this, but I've gotten locked in bathrooms a lot. A couple times it's been stalls where I just had to crawl under or something, but there was 2 times where it was, like, a full-blown bathroom that I was locked into. But one time we were in Estes Park, and it was, like, an outhouse bathroom. And I'm terrified of those, and I got locked in and I could not get out, and I was very scared.
Did you ever make it out?
Yeah, I remember you had to come, like, pry the door open from the other side.
Oh, I do remember that.
So you were my savior that day.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're so nice.
You are.
I used to work at Panera Bread, and there was a freezer that I was always terrified that I was gonna get, because if you let the door shut, I think they told us you would get locked in if you let the door close. So I was always terrified that I was gonna get stuck in there.
I remember you being afraid of that.
Yeah.
Did you think of the stupid story that you thought of?
No, I don't remember
Aww.
it. I'm sorry.
Darn. Any other ones? There's probably so many.
There probably are. I can record an addendum when I remember it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's tons, but I can't think of any right now.
I know.
Which is so dumb, because I'm sure there's so many.
There are so many. We'll probably have to do another episode, because there'll probably be 5 or 6 that happen between now and the time we get moved into school next week. Hopefully we'll be able to, hopefully not. We won't have more that we'll have to update you guys on, but we might. We also have some bad, illegal things that Ashley did that we remember that we have to tell you guys about later.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and actually one thing was something illegal that I did, but it was, we were sort of co-conspirators on it. Should we just tell them?
Yeah, let's just tell them.
Okay, so this was really bad. This fits in with our story, because this was when I was staying in Ashley's apartment when she was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
One of the days that she was in the hospital was Halloween, and I just felt so bad for her because we were planning on having a fun Halloween little thing together, but then she was in the hospital and couldn't do Halloween. So I snuck her in some candy corn into the hospital
because I wasn't allowed to eat any outside food because they were tracking like everything that went in and out of me, and they didn't have candy corn at the hospital.
So I only snuck her in 3 pieces because it was autumn mix, so I snuck her in one of the yellow ones, one of the brown ones, and one of the pumpkins.
I love autumn mix.
But then, well, you can tell the story of how you couldn't find the time to eat them.
Yeah, so usually at night, the nurses would go away, and so I could have just snuck it in my mouth, but the nurse that night, for some reason, was really infatuated with me or something, and she just was, like, sitting outside my room all night, like, talking to me and watching me and stuff, and so I never had a chance to eat it, and so I didn't know what to do with it, so I put it in my pocket because I was wearing a bathrobe over my pajamas, and then finally, it was like the middle of the night, and she finally left. I think her shift was over or something, and so then while they were changing out nurses, I snuck them in my mouth real quick.
Good job,
yeah.
Ashley.
Should I tell them about the illegal water?
Yeah, well, because since you just said they were tracking everything that was going in and out of you.
So at the same time, since they were tracking everything that went in and out of me, they had to monitor how much water I was drinking, so they would only give me these little tiny cups of water at a time, but I drink at least a gallon of water most days probably, and I am just constantly thirsty. So I just started to get really uncomfortable asking them all the time for another cup of water because sometimes there wasn't a nurse around, and so you had to press the call button and wait for them to come, and I just felt bad that I kept calling them and they were probably annoyed with me and whatever, and then they were saying that I was drinking so much water, and so if I drank too much they were going to start limiting how much water I was allowed to drink. So in my room there was a sink, and so sometimes I would just take the cups after I'd finished drinking them and just fill them up a little bit from the sink and then drink some of that water so that I didn't have to ask them for more. And I didn't think I was drinking that much. I thought I was maybe drinking like 8 extra ounces a day. But then one day the kidney doctor came in to talk to me and was like, "We're just really concerned because you are peeing out way more water than you're drinking, like 2 to 3 liters a day." And he was like, "Obviously some water is coming from your food, but it's just really concerning. And they ran all these tests and they were like, it looks like everything's fine, but we're gonna have to start limiting how much water you're drinking if this keeps happening. And we are worried that there might be something wrong with your kidneys. So then I had to stop drinking. We called it my illegal water, and I had to stop drinking my illegal water because
she was making them think she was broken.
Yeah, but I was actually just drinking some illegal water.
So when Ashley says she has a drinking problem, it might not be what you think, but she does have one.
Yes, I do.
All right, well, I guess that's all the stupid. I feel bad saying stupid. I mean, it's not really a bad word, but it's just like not a nice word.
I think it's fine to call yourself stupid.
Yeah. I think that's all of the not street smart things that I have to share for today. So thanks for listening. And please comment below if you have any similar stories that you can relate to, because we would love to hear them.
And please subscribe to our podcast because we have some very fun episodes coming up soon. And share the podcast with your 10 favorite friends.
Yes, we will love the person who shares with the most people the best. So be that person. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.